In this case, file from the Puzzle Detective. Clues lead to words that in turn lead to a very interesting message. If you're up to the challenge, download the PDF file from the description and then get ready to meet me at the puzzle board. Thanks to PennyDellPuzzles.com for permission to use their puzzles on The Puzzle Detective. Find the link to the free PDF file for this puzzle as well as the link to PennyDellPuzzles.com in the description of this video, and learn more about a special offer at the end of this episode. Are you ready for some word fun? I hope so, because today's puzzle is called Crostic. It's the Crostic Puzzle. You know, nobody enjoys a good crossword more than me, except for my boss and my next door neighbor and the milkman. Come to think of it, most people enjoy a good crossword more than me, but luckily we have the Crostic Puzzle. It kind of looks a little bit like a crossword puzzle. We have a grid and everything, but we can't cross-reference words across and up and down. We still have clues and we still have to fill in those clues, but the method of putting them into this final grid is a little bit different. Let's read through the instructions, shall we? Use the clues on the left to fill in the words column, then transfer each letter to the corresponding numbered square in the diagram. It is not necessary to know all the words to start solving, thank goodness, because you're going to find out a lot about myself and how good my vocabulary is and how good my knowledge of trivia is here. Work back and forth in the diagram to the words column until both are filled. A black square indicates the end of the word. The completed diagram will contain a quotation, and the first letter of each word in the words column, reading down, will spell the author's name and the source of the quotation. So we've got a lot of clues there. We just have to start in on it. And we've got all of these clues. We're going to go through them one at a time, what I call first pass, and see how many of them I can come up with without any, it's kind of a starting point. We'll try to get the easy clues first and figure out what they are. Racing hound. Of course, when I think racing hound, the first thing I think of is greyhound, but we only have 7 letters here, so greyhound is not going to fit. Let's move on. Idleness. Can't think of anything there. Soothing. Calming is too short, fit there. Contemptible. This is not going well here at the outset, but let's move on. Intrinsic. Don't know. Our gang name. Now I'm a big old silent movie and old-time comedy movie fan. Our gang. I think of buckwheat. Buckwheat's going to be too long. Alfalfa. Let's put in alfalfa. It fits. All right. It may or may not be right, but we're going to go with it for now. Urban center. That's pretty straightforward. An urban center, downtown is too short, but how about metropolis? And let me also say at this point that the words that you get are obviously not necessarily going to be the words that I get. Like some of you may be screaming the answers at me for one of these first 5 clues. I simply don't know what they are. I may have gotten 1 or 2 of these words and you thought, I would never have gotten that. Well, that's the fun of these puzzles, that everybody takes their own path for trying to figure out the final solution to the puzzle, but you go about it in your own way. This is just one example. Also, what I could do from the outset after I put in an answer is to go ahead and transfer these. But what I like to do is to go through and get all of the obvious clues first, see how much I have to work with, and then start filling in the grid down below. Vertigo director, once again, that's a very easy one for me. I know that that's Alfred Hitchcock. We put Hitchcock. All right. Manor lands. Not a clue what that is. Determine, offered formally, Roman goddess of wisdom. Those of you that know your mythology probably know that one right off the top, but that's something I'm going to have to, it's probably something I'll probably be able to figure out once I get a few of the letters placed. encumbered. Well, I managed to get 3 in that first row there. Let's try the next side over here with the Crostic Puzzle. Poet and humorist, 2 words, no idea. Balderdash. How about N-O-N? We're going to try nonsense. Balderdash, nonsense. And again, what may happen as you put these words in and you start to transfer them into the grid, you may figure out, well, that can't possibly be the right word. And then you're going to have to come back and erase it and try maybe a different word. But I'm going to go with nonsense for now. Wild sheep, no idea. A permit, how about license? Spelling also becomes very important here. Heedless, decadent, barbarous, Hebrew prophet. There are probably a couple of answers that can go in there. We'll come back to that. Progress, occurrence, snowy, appetite, aid, northerner. Northerner. How about a Yankee? And a Sahara squall, that would seem pretty obvious there. There's enough letters in it. Sandstorm. Okay, well, we got 3 in the first column, 4 in the second column. That's not a bad place to start. As it says in the instructions, you won't be able to get all the words on the first pass. At this point, we take each of the numbers below the letters for the answers that we have, and we have to transfer them down into this large grid. Now, this is going to eventually be a quote, and the first letters, reading down in each one of these is going to tell us the author and the source of the quotation, but we need to start doing the transfer of the letters. 123 from alfalfa is going to be A. 36, L. 130, A. Next word, 129 is M. 188 is S. Next word, Hitchcock, H. Goes in the 2 square. 174 is I. 135 is K. We move into the next row. 159 is N. 57 is E. Moving along to the next word, license. Moving down to clue Z, which is Yankee. 30 is Y. That's always a good sign. I see that this word ends with a Y, so that's probably a very good bet that that's the correct letter. 182 is A. Final word as far as the first clues that I was able to get, number 12 is S. And 190 is M. If you heard anything there, that was the sound of my joints creaking as I stand up from filling in the bottom part of this grid. Now that we have some letters filled in onto our grid, we can kind of take a look at it. Let me step out of the way here just for a moment. This first word is 3 letters long. The middle letter is H. Probably a pretty good possibility that this is the, although it could be who, it could be why, so we're not really sure, but let's try something here. Let's check with the letter A. The first box is going to be from clue A, and number 1, if we were to put a T in this box, assuming that this is the word the, does that give us any better idea as far as what the answer to that first clue is? I really don't. That didn't help me very much. Let's try to move from this box here, which is part of these little letters in the box here, tell you which clue this letter is from, and that's from clue E, 3, Let's just temporarily put the letter E in here, intrinsic. That really isn't going to help much either. Where else in the puzzle can we look? We've got this word here that is very obviously going to be either if or of, because we've got blank F and it can't really be anything else. Is there a place on this puzzle that really stands out as far as an obvious word? I can see a couple of them. This down here, M-A blank, I suppose that could be man or it could be may. We're going to pass on that for the moment. But as I see the second to last word down here in the puzzle, we've got S blank, M blank blank, H blank blank blank. Quite obviously, the only answer for that is that it's the word something. So let's put in the word something. And as we put the letters for the word something in here, we can transpose them and put them up into the clues above where they belong. We've already got the S in clue G, but clue D is D189 is O. Let's put an O in there. We've already got this M in sandstorm. We've got the E from clue M. Space number 191 is going to be E. Clue V, 192, has got to be T. Clue H, we've already got filled in. We've got clue U, space number 194 is I. We've got L, 195 is N. And finally, P, 196, is G. All right, let's see if we can deduct anything now that we have some of these spaces filled in. Well, as I now look at this clue U, very obviously, well, obvious to me that it's going to be Isaiah. That's the only Hebrew prophet I can think of that's going to fill in nicely using that letter I. So let's put in Isaiah, I-S. That's always a hard name for me to spell. I-S-A-I-A-H, Isaiah. So now the only letter from up there that we have down below is from that 194. Once again, this is part of the process. You fill in another answer, you transfer those letters down into the puzzle down below. We've got 84 is I, 171. And 125 is H. Well, now I see a word here that's becoming a bit more obvious to me. Again, this may be a leap for some of you, but some of you probably will figure it out along with me. We've got blank blank O-N, blank 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 A-P-H. And to me that just, I look at it and I figure it out. It's the word phonograph. And again, if you don't make that leap, you'll probably find your clues elsewhere in the puzzle, but that's what I'm going to go with here, phonograph. Let's transfer these letters as we go. A, 116 is P. T, 122 is R. Okay. Now we have laid the foundation for the process of how to solve this puzzle. It's simply a matter of working back and forth between the clues and the grid. What is the next word that I can make out, or what is the next clue? Ah, racing hound. Racing hound. What's another name for a greyhound? Our canine friends would know the answer to this out there. How about whippet? Whippet is another name for a greyhound or a racing dog. Let's transfer these letters here. We've got 99 is W. And 137 is E. Let's look at that word right down here where we just filled in the E. We've got K blank blank E blank. I can't think of another word other, well, I suppose it could be new, But the word I think of first of all would be keep. And now if we try to start thinking in terms of a phrase, phonograph, phonograph, it's not going to be phonograph if, it's going to be phonograph, I suppose it could be if or of, but a man can keep. I can't think of another phrase other than a man can keep. So let's put those letters in. W131 is N. Let's put can. Y133 is A. W134 is N. C. 136 is E. Y, 138 is P. Again, we have another three-space word starting with T down here. That's just about absolutely going to have to be the. Let's transpose those letters. 114 T, H. And X, 115 is E. As I step back and take a look at some of the words already in place, I'm seeing this word. Remember, the word starts after a black spot and it continues on to the next line until we hit another black square. Look at this word here. This is clearly, that C kind of gives it away. Scientific, how about that? S-C-I E, L15E, B16N, S19F, C20I. All right. Again, at this point, you try to take a look at other words that are partially filled in. Maybe it's a good time also. Well, here's something that we haven't seen before down here that I didn't notice, is this space number 179J. It's a single letter word, meaning that that's probably going to have to be A or I. In the grand scheme of the phrase that we have in place so far, it's doubtful that it's going to be I. Let's try A. And if that isn't correct, we can always come back and change it. J 179 A. Another three-letter word here ending with E. There are a number of possibilities. R is something that could go in there. But the best choice for something like that almost all of the time, I won't say all of the time, but most of the time is going to be the word, at least to attempt to try to work the word the in there. Let's try that, the. Let's put T in 87I. And H into W88. That now helps a lot. I look at both of those words where we just placed the letters occurrence. Can you figure it out with me there? The word I come up with is happening. 139A, 23I. We have another single letter right here that I just spotted. Number 167 is also a single letter. Let's put A in there as well. J167 A. Let's check out the first few words of our quotation. We've said that this is probably the word the, though we're not certain of it, but let's just assume it's the word the. The something, something, scientific, and then we've got D-I blank C something, scientific, how about discovery? I think that we can make that assumption that that's going to be the word discovery. It fits. It's really about the only word I can think of following scientific that would make any sense whatsoever. Let's put in the word discovery. V29 is R. All right. Progress. Progress or progress, either way, right? What is this word going to be here? Growth. We can now complete that. As you see, it's much like doing a crossword in the fact that once you have several letters placed, you can then make some educated guesses as to what the word is going to be. But that's become fairly obvious to me that that's got to be growth. 82G, 60O, 71W, and now we can see that this word here has been completed, W-A-S, was. So that's very encouraging. It's a word that makes sense. There are, any number of ways that you can double check yourself if something seems really obvious. As I look at this word here, we've got T blank 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 I blank G. I don't know. It's not thinking, even though there's a K there. It's not the right position for thinking. But I blank G. This is almost certainly going to be N. That's another leap that we can make. So let's put N in there, J81N. Now I've got this word. We've got A at the beginning, something AN. Determine, ascertain. 68 is S. 49 is T. 176 is I. This word is ERR something something. Clearly it's error. P163 is O. R164 is R. Well now, here's something that we haven't tried yet. Remember the last portion of our instructions tells us that the completed diagram will contain a quote, which we know, and the first letter of each word in the column reading down in each one of the columns here will give us the author's name and the source of the quotation. This could be almost anything here. We have W, but we've got blank, 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 AM. Can you think of a name that would fit there? How about William? And as I go down here, I can transfer these letters as well. 165 is I. 140 is L. 92, also L. 67, I. William, boy, I don't know, that could be almost anything there. Is there anything we can get a indication over here? Well, not so much. There are still a lot of possibilities, but William helped a little bit there. Idleness, inaction. We now have that I there, I-N-A-C-T-I-O-N. Let's go with inaction. 43O. This has become a very obvious word also with the remaining boxes that are there. Possibility. T170 is S, and R178 is Y. Again, it's always encouraging when you transfer either way when the final letter is Y. I don't like to see Y's, the letter Y show up in the middle of a word. It happens, but more commonly you'll find Y at the end of a word. Let's go back through our clues and see if we can come up with any more clues that we can complete. Soothing, I'm still not sure about that. Contemptible. Loathsome is too long. That won't fit in there. What else? Contemptible. How about low down? Loathsome doesn't work, but low down certainly does. That's also contemptible. Let's put 58W. We've got another completed word, the word new, so that's helpful. 55D. $59W and $70N. Okay, intrinsic, still don't know. Mannerlands, estate. It just came to me, and things will come to you as you do the puzzle as well. 104E. 166S, 98E. Let's go back up to our clues and see if we can come up with any more answers. Soothing is still leaving me a little bit mystified there. Soothing, still can't figure that out. Intrinsic, not sure. Offered formally, that little E down there doesn't help me much. Roman goddess of wisdom, Minerva. 148 is M. And 4 is A. Remember before we kind of guessed that this first word was the? After completing the word whippet, we should have gone ahead and put the T in there and then the E on the end. We can say with all certainty now that that is in fact the word the. The something, something scientific discovery, blank, blank, of, it's certainly not going to be if, let's go with of here. M, 38 is O. Poet and humorist, wild sheep, bighorn. 147, I. 95 is H. 79 is R. And 5 is N. Barbarous. We've got 3 letters. Harsh, obviously now. Again, words that maybe at the very beginning there are multiple possibilities, and once you get so many of the letters filled in, just like in a standard crossword, it becomes obvious. Let's put the A in there. 31 is A. Aha. And then 100 is H. Lucky for me that I didn't assume that this was the, because it turns out it's R. Discovery. I suppose it could be discovery age. Scientific discovery age. The annals, how about the annals of scientific discovery are, let's go with R. 32, E32, R. Annals, A-N-N. N6 is N. M7 is A. Of. N10 is O. S11 is F. Are there any words that I can complete? Decadent. Still can't get that. Snowy. How about white? 199W. Our first letter in the final word of the puzzle. 86. H. 46. T. We can now determine that this is ITH. This is obviously with. R83W. Heedless. Unwary. 35U. 197N. 48A. Now we're getting a lot of words that are very easy to complete. This is that. N47 is H. This is new, N-E-W. So S. 198 is E. This takes a little bit of a leap. I don't know how well read you are, but poet and humorist, I thought maybe at the outset like Will Rogers, but Will Rogers doesn't fit in there, obviously. There are a number of people that could probably go in there. Ogden Nash, 150G. And 144A. Imaginary, no, it's not imaginary, it's not imagination. A man can keep alert, let's put that in there. We'll come back to that other word. E143 is T. I heard you that time. Imaginative, I heard someone shout it out. Let's put imaginative in there. Imaginative, Y151. M156 is V. Encumber, overload. 44 is R. 37 is L. 112 is D. The annals of scientific discovery are full of Y34 is F. Is full of something that opened. K, 52 is E. S, 54 is also E. Effete, decadent, effete. 91E. We now know that this word is telephone. E97N. The annals of scientific discovery are full of blank that opened new worlds. K63D. Edison, there's a period here, it's starting a new sentence, but we can figure out that that's Edison. K65E. Edison was tinkering. Now, you can't think of Edison without thinking of tinkering. Y75I. C78E. With the telephone, when, K102 is now N. When he, E103 is H. Now that we know that we're talking about Edison, Edison was tinkering with the telephone when he What does Edison do a lot? He invents things. When he invented C107V, Y108E, E109N, invented, we have to put a T over here, a T in space here. K110 is T. When he invented the phonograph, if a man can keep alert, and K146D. If a man can keep alert and imaginative, an error is a possibility, a chance at something new. C183N. Y187T. That's something new. Clearly this is aperitif. 41 is R. Intrinsic, we now know that this is inherent. E, 40 is E. We finally got this word figured out here. The annals of scientific discovery are full of errors. K, 42 is R. Now we've completed two words over here that left me mystified from the get-go, but by going back and forth, they've filled themselves in. Soothing, lenitive, and offered formally, tendered, such as you tendered your resignation. Anyway, we have now completed all of the words, both our clues and in the grid. Let's read this all the way through. The annals of scientific discovery are full of errors that open new worlds. Edison was tinkering with the telephone when he invented the phonograph. If a man can keep alert and imaginative, an error is a possibility, a chance at something new. And reading back through the first letters of all of our clues, we now have our author and the source of the quote. We have William Heat Moon from the book Blue Highways. Well, we've completed Crostic Puzzle. It's back and forth, and as I said, you may not, you certainly won't. Everybody that does the puzzle is going to solve it in their own way. Different clues solved first and going back and forth, but the process is all there. I hope that you enjoyed it. We'll be back with a few thoughts from the Puzzle Detective's desk right after this. If you enjoy solving puzzles, you'll find the best selection to challenge your mind at PennyDellPuzzles.com. Whether you're looking for variety collections or entire books devoted to your favorite type of puzzle, you'll find it there, with tremendous values on puzzle magazine packages, including print and solve puzzles that you can download and solve immediately. And as a thank you to viewers, you can find an exclusive offer by going to PennyDellPuzzles.com/thepuzzledetective. Well, I hope you enjoyed solving that puzzle. Don't miss any of my case files. Subscribe to my YouTube channel now, and I hope that you'll leave me a comment. If you'd like to learn more about the Puzzle Detective, go to my website at thepuzzledetective.com. There you can also help support future videos by linking to my Patreon page. And until next time, keep your pencils sharp and your mind sharper.